Hi everyone, I'm Asha, an Akashic Records reader, blogger, and podcaster. In this series, we will demystify the Akashic Records by bringing to you bite-sized contents on frequently asked questions relating to the Akashic Records. We will also explore topics relating to spirituality, as well as practical application, learnings, and reflections in the Akashic Records. My Akashic Masters are very excited to join us in this journey. We send much love, light, and blessings to all. Welcome to episode 17 of Case Study 8 of Deep Healing of Past and Present Issues Afflicting the Soul. Today we will share the case study of another client whose name would be anonymized for the purposes of sharing. So let's call her Adele. Her first query to me was, why is she always meeting men with a similar pattern of struggling financially? On the first query, I received from her masters that the purpose is for her to learn courage in the form of speaking up and taking care of herself. In this society, we are often ingrained with cultural and societal information that women need to be taken care of. This is the universal trait of feminine energy around us, that woman takes care of the family and there is a stable man in the household. Your presence on earth in this incarnation is to counter all these stereotypes about women. You are here to learn how it feels like to go against the tide. And in this case, it requires you to have very strong courage within through all these personal experiences. To realize that as much as men can take care of themselves, as much as men can speak up for themselves, so can you. You will be a voice to all other females who cannot speak up for themselves, who are too fearful of speaking up for themselves, who feel they cannot take care of themselves. You will slowly grow and evolve to be a voice for female representation. Adele resonated with the message as she shared that she is working in a job that currently allows her to share on topics that women never get to share on, but is also important to women at large. On Adele's second query, she asked if there's any insights on when she will get to have her own home and space, which her soul longs for. On the second query, Adele's masters shared that as she grows to be financially independent and secure, there is nothing to fear about not owning a home or not even having her own space. These are just illusions of the mind. These are good to have. They are optional. But they must not impede you in your soul's journey, that you must not feel that you have to fulfill all these conditions, upon which then you are ready to serve at a higher level. Her masters shared that right now is the moment for her, wherever she is, whatever she is. The soul longs for a home because the soul longs for the warmth and love through the ownership of something tangible. But there is nothing stopping you right now from being in the moment and do what you can to serve the light. You don't have to wait until all these material possessions are satisfied, and only then can we progress to a higher level. Right now, you are ready. Adele resonated with the message. She shared with me that this issue has been bothering her for a long time, whether she needed her own space before she could serve more. She also shared that right now she stays in a small house without her own space, resulting in her having to travel extensively and renting spaces for her job. Adele queried further if the masters have any guidance to her on her space, to which her masters replied, "You are ready now to serve what you are meant to serve. There is nothing blocking you except perhaps our own limitations of the mind thinking that maybe we are even more ready when we get our own home. On having her own space to do her job, her masters reiterated that these are good to have, it is optional. On the query of committing to a timeline, Adele's master suggested to take things one step at a time, rather than to try to predict a time for you and setting yourself up for disappointment. It requires a lot of factors to come together to make things work. They rather prefer for Adele to be in the moment, take things one step at a time, and now she focuses on what she can do in her service to spread the light. Right now, you are ready. Go all out to do what you can. As you progress, you will slowly gain the financial resources. When you have accumulated a comfortable amount, some property comes to you, and there is a match. That is when you are ready. They can't commit to a specific timeline because that presumes that we don't have a role in it. But in reality, we have everything in our control. Our masters are assisting, guiding and supporting us on our journey, but they are not here to live our lives for us. They suggest for Adele to maximize your ability to manifest when the time comes, and for now to take things one step at a time, do what you can right now, because what you are doing right now is going to create the future that you desire as you move on. On Adele's third query, she asked whether marriage in a 3D form is part of her soul's destiny, as she had met her twin flame 5 years back, which has been a catalyst for her spiritual progress and uncovering her life mission. On the third query, I received, yes, definitely, but be flexible with what comes up. The difficulties, challenges, and obstacles that come your way to clear. There is much that the soul needs to work on at this stage. Sometimes, rather than to peg to the unforeseeable future, which is not very certain when marriage will come, it may be better to take all the energy back to you right now to do what you can on yourself. As you work on yourself, if that person is your twin flame, you are interrelated. The work that you do on yourself will benefit him as well. Whether or not he knows, he is on his own journey. No one can force each other on their own journey. We are all ready at our own divine timing, because divine timing means all the timing that we may personally need to learn our unique set of lessons, and for the partner's case, it is also his unique set of lessons. Also, her masters shared with her to be very flexible as to the timing. Try not to peg with the conventional wisdom that ladies by the age of XX, you must get married, feeling which you will be left behind, you will not be able to get pregnant, you won't set the ideal family, you are setting up yourself for failure. Try to abandon all these societal stereotypes. Adele's masters reminded that her whole purpose of coming to this earth is to go against the tide of what female representation ought to be. On Adele's fourth query, she asked if there's any insights on when she can really live together with her partner. So Adele shared with me that currently she only gets to meet up with her partner a few times a year, and the longing is intense. When I check in with her masters, they shared that when they have gone through the inner work of purification, the soul cannot force in this journey. They reminded that you are not just doing the work at your individual level, but you are also, in fact, doing the work at the collective level as well. You are purging a lot of things out from the collective. Unfortunately, this is the case for twins. The longing, the connection is always present at the heart-to-heart level. The physical unity is just an illusion of mind that the physical 3D body longs for. Try not to be caught up with that. The idea that when can everybody come together? Because it has a lot to do with the individual's inner work, and also the concept of going through some purification process. On Adele's fifth query, she asked if her masters had any message for her birthday coming up and what it means for her, and any message about her father who recently passed away. On the fifth query, Adele's master shared that there are monumental changes and shifts taking place or going to take place, happening now and going to happen this year and the next 3 years ahead. A lot of inner work, working on yourself, purging those parts of your duality. Duality means sometimes the heart and mind goes in different directions. The heart longs for this, but the mind will come in and say you should do this and you should do that, because the mind is taking on a lot of baggage from society, from the collective, from ancestral beliefs, trauma, and pain. So the masters reminded that in Adele's case, you are actually assisting to clear for yourself, your ancestral family line, and the society around you. Because when people connect with you, they also sense your energy. There's so much potential in what you are doing for yourself and others. Take these precious few years in your stride. They are very, very valuable if you seize the opportunity to work deeply on yourself in these few years, for it will be very lasting and life-changing for you. As for any messages regarding Adele's death, her master shared that he is well in the space. Don't worry. He is being taken care of by his own angels and archangels. The loss of a loved one, this grief and sadness is immense. But as you have shown and proven over the years, you too can overcome all these struggles that come in your stride. Your masters are ready to send you the comforting energies which you need to help you on this journey in the healing segment later. We are most willing to support you in your own healing and in your soul's evolution. Her masters then shared that they are most honored to work with her. They are not high up there, they are your best friends. They are with you, and they are most humble and honored to serve this brave soul who chose to come to earth to experience all these challenges. So few of us are willing to take up such a role to go against the tide. Everyone wants to live this ideal, fairy-like tale of growing up, getting a good education, getting married happily ever after, and that's it. It's so much harder to be the unconventional one, stared at for being the unconventional one by males, fellow females, even your own family. Sometimes it feels as if everyone is up in a riot against you and that you're all alone. But you are not. You are surrounded by the collective energies of the masters. They are with you, whether or not we sense them. And they are always around. You can always talk to them, pray to them. They are your best friends. Don't need to specialize in Akashic records to connect with them. Akashic records allows us to receive very clearly, but it is optional. Her masters encourage her to go by your intuition that you have developed over the years. Check in with your heart. When you talk to them, they'll send you this knowing through the heart. And that is how they communicate with you. Trust that. On Adele's sixth query, she asked if there's any message about her uncle who passed away, whom she feels is her guide now, and any message about the deaths that she foresees to more males in her family. On the sixth query, I received the message that in the case of her uncle that passed away, all is well, don't worry. On client's query of the lesson that might be involved with a number of males passing away in the family, her master shared that the concept of transience or impermanence is for you to internalize. As you go through the struggles, you become even more resilient and setting up yourself to align to your soul's path as it may be. On Adele sensing that a few more deaths will be coming up for males in the family, her master shared that try not to worry too much about all these things. Instead, focus on your own journey. Her master shared that every soul has a choice. In this case, they chose whoever it may be, when they will come, what family they will be born in, what lessons they want to learn, the karma they want to clear in this lifetime, when they choose to depart, and how they choose to depart. These are all that the soul has painstakingly chosen for themselves. If we see in that light, us as soul, and just choosing what we want for each lifetime, there is really nothing to worry about. The soul lives on forever. Even when in the 3D form, your father and uncle may have passed away, but they are still around in the ethereal realm. They are still around to support and guide you. Trust that all is well, don't worry, and take care of yourself. On Adele's last query, she asked whether she has a connection or contract with England. So Adele shared with me that she feels a very strong connection to England, like she had been there, and she has a longing to be there. She feels as if she might have been a priestess there, and now in this lifetime she wants to do sacred pilgrimages and taking women there. When I check in with her past life, I received yes, surely, and I was shown an image of a lady with a straw hat in a white dress. The message was, you had a carefree life in England in one of your past lives. You were doing what you liked, you enjoyed what you were doing, and it left behind happy memories for you. In that lifetime, you felt free, and your soul felt liberated, unrestricted by any rules, regulations, and societal norms. You were one with everything around you. That place left you happy memories that you as a female living there. You feel this longing because that is also the place of freedom for you. And your soul wants to experience that again. But this time, also bringing along other women from your country on this journey and making them feel for themselves what freedom feels like. There's only so much you can do, telling them we can do this, we can do that, like stand up for yourself, and we can embrace our femininity, etc. But what is more impactful than to experience it personally yourself? And it is a place where your soul once felt maximum freedom. Adele queried whether her masters are saying it's possible for her to own a house in England and another house in her home country, to which I received a knowing from her masters that they don't want to comment for now, just soul's timing. Her masters reminded again for her to do what she can in the moment now, because you are setting yourself up to create the desired future. If you feel the soul's longing to have an expedition or bring a group of females with you to experience the land of freedom you once felt in a past life, go ahead to execute the plan when the conditions are right. Don't need to wait for the fulfillment of certain conditions like buying a property in UK, getting this and that, before you execute the plan. Her master shared that everything is very fluid and flexible. You don't need to commit to anything in order to embark on a certain plan. You don't need to make sure you're settled there. And in fact, you may not be settled anywhere. You may just be this roaming free soul, trusting in the process and the universe, trusting the guidance of your masters, and just fluidly embarking on your plans as your soul feels drawn to. That is actually perfect for you. Because when we talk about going against stereotypes being the unconventional one, you have to be prepared that changes are always coming your way. Of course, our 3D mind wants to settle down, have this home, has this family, and happily ever after in one place, but the soul's plan may not always be as such. And in her case, her masters reminded that her soul chose something really unconventional in this lifetime. That's why it is good to be open-minded, flexible, and fluid, follow her soul's intuition and guidance, and not to overthink too much. Adele resonated and shared that she could explore living a nomad lifestyle with a partner, to which her master added that yes, because the soul longs to be free. That's why she will have this unique lifetime ahead of her with lots of changes. And nothing is actually fixed and cast in stone. Everything is fluid, and you play a huge part in deciding how you want to create your own plan by focusing simply on the now. And by focusing on the now, you can slowly work towards your future. When we get very fixated on things, trying to control everything, it becomes very hard. When we focus on the now instead and tune in to our intuition, it will guide us on what to do next. Like when you feel this bubbling excitement within you to try something new, like a new plan or project, just go ahead to try it. Don't need to wait for all the resources to be ready or the fulfillment of certain conditions, like buying a house and all, before you execute the plan, because in reality, you don't need all of this. Next, we then move on to the healing segment. So for this segment, Adele shared that she wanted to receive healing to open up pathways to allow her and her partner to ultimately stay together in future. So we ran Akashic Light clearings and activations to assist her to remove blocks that she's ready to release, as well as to help her with manifestation. So we ran Assessing Wisdom to allow her to assess her wisdom from past lives and also experiences from present lifetimes to help her cope with the present challenges even better. We also ran Trust Thyself to enhance her trust towards herself, bridging the heart and mind to bridge the duality that she currently faces because of the tension and opposite directions that the heart and mind are pulling her. We also ran Doubt and Confusion as well as Clarity to help reduce all those fogginess in her mind and to enhance the clarity so that she is able in the days ahead to decide what is good for her to proceed. We also ran clearings and activations for abundance, creating miracles, and to supercharge her manifestation. So for that, she has to set an intention when the clearing and activation is being run for manifestation supercharge, so that if it is meant for her, it will be expedited. We also ran clearings and activations to enhance her ability to receive, enhance her self-worthiness and self-empowerment, and also to embrace and be reminded of the divinity within her. That she does not need to look outside of her, that she does not always have to wait for the perfect conditions to ripen upon which she's ready to go ahead. Because as her masters have reiterated during the session, the present moment is perfect for her, and she just needs to trust and go along with it. There's no need to overthink, there's no need to over-worry. This session was also very special because her masters wanted to send healing for her, relating to her passing of her uncle and also her dad recently. So I saw her masters and light beings gathered in a circle around her and sending her go light to her chakras, 4 bodies, and patching up her auric fields, infusing her with a lot of love, warmth for her days ahead, to have the courage to walk her path, to be reminded that she's never alone. That is only an illusion of mind. Her masters are always around to support her, and they love her for who she is. Thank you for tuning in to this podcast. If you would like to read about my dialogues and reflections with the Akashic Masters, you can visit my free blog at asha-akashicrecords.com. Till next time, take care.